Let's take a few minutes to talk about that. 1 week ago today, I was in Iceland with my youngest son, Jackson. We were there for 7 days, and I must say that Iceland is absolutely a dramatically beautiful, gorgeous country. I have to feel like for square mile, it must be the most beautiful country in the world.
I am so thrilled that you and Jackson had this opportunity to go visit such a spectacular place, Tom, but then also that you got to do it together.
We got to do it together. We spent half our night sleeping in a tent somewhere in a campground. We're moving around the country, and half the nights in hostels. So I was traveling like he travels the world on his kind of budget, and it was a lot of fun.
I think that's so fun, and it's very, very special to kind of see it through his eyes.
Yes. Well, I got to spend 7 days and 7 nights with Jackson, and he's been a world traveler for quite a while now, so I don't get to see him that much. So it was absolutely a pleasure for me to spend 7 days and 7 nights with him, and he's just an absolutely a fine young man. I was reminded of how much I like him, and he's a good, fine, upstanding, bright got worldly views because he's traveled the world, and just a pleasure to be around.
I am so happy for you, and I just think that's so wonderful. You had that quality time, and the fact that, like you said, because you had that quality time and really had those great talks and were in this magical place, that you really did get to see, wow, my son, I mean, he is a really, really wonderful young man.
Mature, fine young man. And so I'm going to tell all listeners out there, and I'll be praising Iceland for the longest time. I tell you what, you've got to go. Iceland is so dramatically beautiful. Waterfalls, volcanoes, mountains, you name it, it's got it all. And got great roads, and everybody speaks English.
Hey,
easy.
Can't get better than that.
Yeah.
So in other words, everybody needs to add Iceland to their bucket list.
I highly recommend it. In our short time with Jackson here in Orlando before we left for Iceland, you did a very nice job of planting the seed with Jackson about applying for law school. So when he's back in the country, it appears like he will be applying for law school in the next few months and is on his way to hopefully being a lawyer.
Well, I think that again, really wonderful. And I'm happy to plant that seed. And then furthermore, being with you for that time, I'm sure that also just encouraged that more.
Yeah, he was
just
asking me
helped grow
lots
that.
of questions
Good.
about it. And hey, I can honestly tell him and anybody else that I have absolutely loved being a lawyer. My career every day is very special, nice. Every day is something brand new. And, being on the radio here, I get to deal with the finest people in Central Florida, people who listen to this radio station, just kind, wonderful people.
Kind, wonderful, caring souls. And especially because your listeners out there, I mean, what incredible people, and what an honor and pleasure that we have to meet many of them and understand when you get to meet these people in person. I mean, just the salt of the earth and just wonderful, caring about their families, their loved ones, always, wanting to do the right thing. I mean, that is heartwarming.
It is. Well, what goes along with that is that the people that they come and see us, they feel like they know us. They hear us on the radio. We've never met us before, but they know us, and that kind of instantly creates a bond and like one-on-one friendship level almost with the listeners that come and see us, and
Absolutely.
it's just absolutely a pleasure.
Yes. Well, and thank you, but especially you. They're so, excited that they, after listening for many years or even a few years, they feel like they know you, and they are very excited to be able to meet you in person.
Oh, thank you for saying so, Chrissy. It is great to be back in the United States after spending a week in Iceland with my youngest son, Jackson. We traveled together, and half the nights we were camping in a tent, and half the nights we were at youth hostels. And, traveling the world like he travels the world on a budget. Nothing luxurious for us.
Hey, but something though, too, you say, I understand Jackson is traveling that way. However, I know you enjoy camping.
Yeah, it was,
Right?
I
So-
love, yes. And by the way, the other thing I didn't mention in the top hours, we went over there with MREs, the things that the Army eats, the meals ready to eat. So we were eating MREs, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
I think that, Tom, that is really cool
Yeah.
that you did it that way.
Well, the listeners may not know, but my son has been traveling the world for a couple of years now, and he's still got a ways to go. So he's doing everything on a budget. For him to save 5 or 10 or 20
Is a big
bucks
deal.
is a big deal,
Yeah.
keeps them going that much longer.
Absolutely.
So it was a whole lot of fun. And I want to say to all listeners out there, Iceland is a dramatically beautiful, gorgeous country. I can't imagine a country more beautiful per square mile than Iceland. They got great roads and everybody speaks English.
And Tom, again, I've always heard great things, but didn't, maybe think, okay, about going there. But obviously it really is inspiring now that you've been there. You really kind of say, hey, yeah, it would be worth to go. But isn't it neat too? It was Jackson's idea.
It was. It was part of his travels, and
Yeah.
he put it out there on Facebook. Anybody want to go to Iceland with me? I said, yeah, I do.
Yeah.
And he loved that from the very get-go.
From the beginning, and he was all about it.
Yeah. So it was really wonderful spending time with him because I don't get to see him much because he's always in another part of the
Traveling.
world. Yes. Yeah. And so it was great to spend a lot of quality time with him.
I'm so happy for you guys.
We
And
had
again, not only spending that time together, but in such a spectacularly beautiful place.
And by the way, October weather-wise is not the best month to go to Iceland, but we were blessed with some great weather. I mean, it was absolutely beautiful. And except for the last day, the wind was just howling.
Oh, but you have to tell everybody.
Okay, I'll tell them that the wind was just like howling, like gale force winds and horizontal. Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And the gal that ran our hostel, she comes in. He goes, "Yeah, we just caught the tail end of Hurricane Matthew." And I'm thinking I might be the only person in the world that got hit by Hurricane Matthew 2 times.
Exactly.
Once in Florida
Isn't
and
that
once
incredible?
in Iceland. Yeah.
You had it here at the beginning, and then the end of it in Iceland. Again, what are the odds of that? Oh my gosh!
It's following me.
Tom, that is really remarkable. I thought that was so remarkable. That's why I wanted you to share that with the listeners, because I was like, wow. Again,
Well, that
you must be the
wind
only
and
one.
rain really only kept us from doing one thing. But our last night there, we hung out at the Blue Lagoon, and anybody that's been to Iceland knows the Blue Lagoon. It's a huge body of water that's naturally heated from coming up from the earth, right?
Right.
And so, you can, your whole body's in the water except for your head, but there's gale force winds and some, light rain at that moment in time. But there are places you can kind of park yourself to get some nice hot water and get out of the wind and rain. And it was a great way to do it.
And also, you were sharing with me, which, I didn't really know to this degree, how many waterfalls.
Yes.
Right?
We call it the land of waterfalls. I mean, you're just driving down the ring road around Iceland, and everywhere you look, there's big waterfalls, and a lot of them are in people's backyards. I'm thinking, wow, that's pretty cool to have a huge waterfall in your backyard. Probably don't even pay attention anymore, but there were some really, really huge waterfalls, and for those that have parking lots where you could park and walk to them and just enjoy them and walk under them if you want to, walk up to them, walk on the top of them. I mean, you could see them for every angle.
That is so cool.
Keep talking about my son Jackson, that he has been a world traveler for a couple years and has got a ways to go yet. I mean, South America, Europe, Asia, you name it, Canada, he's all the U.S., he's done it all. But he's very passionate about his photographs. So what was kind of cool about it was that, I felt like America's Next Top Model. He's photographing me in front of these beautiful scenics and move left, move right. There's one day, okay, there's this huge waterfall. I don't know, we have any calls up there, Kirk? We were just chatting away, okay? But here's this huge waterfall, and he wants me to go stand at the base of it, okay? And now once I'm at the base of the waterfall, it's very loud. And, I'm getting a little bit wet from this waterfall, and he's giving me these signals, and he's this and doing that and doing this. And, I'm like, what? I don't know what he's trying to tell me. So we had to get our signals down as far as him telling me to go left, go right. Actually, he's trying to tell me to turn around. So...
again,
but he's got some great photos of me.
But he is positioning you in just the right way that he wants as a photographer.
Exactly.
So he's trying to have you do that. But speaking of that, so also if people come to our office and come to one of our workshops, they're going to have the opportunity to see this spectacular photography in our office in the conference room.
Well, not yet.
Soon.
Not next Thursday.
No, not Thursday, but they'll be able to see some pictures, slide pictures, but soon they're going to be on the walls in the conference room.
Okay, well, so does anybody really care? I'll say this, that, my office is full of art that I personally love and passionate about. And all the art was done by my good friend Del Kane, so we call it Del Art.
Right.
And so
Which is very nice.
you're gradually working me into the mode that some of the Del Art's going to have to go, and we're going to make room for some photographs that my son has done of his world travels.
Del Art, very nice. Jackson's photography will be just in my opinion, just a really, really warm welcome for the office. And again, a lot of it you're in.
So we'll put the word out to all our listeners out there that I'm looking. If you love modern art, you love bright colors, you're going to love Del Art. And so we're trying to find a home for some of my Del Art. And I've already told you that that's what will give me a comfort level is we find a good home for it, and I get visitation rights.
Absolutely. And we can work all that out.
Okay, you know what? I'm working up a cold sweat here just thinking about getting rid of my Del Art.
I'll calm you down.
Yeah, you have to calm me down because it's clear.
Yes.
It means a lot to me.
Do not worry.
Okay, all right. It'll be okay.